Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down two of the trades that we took in our group on the software group today. Now, one of them was a win, which was that of Nasdaq. Then the other one was a loss, which was USDJPY. Now, I'm going to break down two of them. Then I'm also going to show you the setup that later popped up during New York session on USDJPY that was a win. Now, I did not share that trade because if you notice the way we've been trading, I only share maximum of two trades in a day so that I don't or we don't incite or encourage over trading. All right, because everybody have their own risk management. And another reason I also share two trades. Normally I should just share just one, but some people don't get to pick first trade because most times setups normally come between 7 a.m. 8 a.m. and that's when most of some of us are trying to those that go to 9 to 5 or still have businesses to attend to, or some other things they need to attend to. This is when they are most likely very busy, or even maybe like trying to get the kids ready for school, that kind of thing. So that is why if we get setups during, let's say during London session or New York session, we trade. But most times for me personally, once I have a very good win during London session, I don't bother trying to trade New York. But if I see a setup, I can still share with you guys. But what I normally do is that if we've taken two trades, I can still point out certain points of interest where you can take trades on your own, all right, without me, giving you guys signals. So that is why um, the group is a little bit different from other groups. Now, first of all, let's take a look at the that the trade that we won, which was that of Nasdaq. Guy, BTC is still very very ranging, so we're just waiting. Remember, guys, I told you guys that what we trade BTC with is just pure supply and demand. We don't try to use ICT concepts or any other thing, just pure supply and demand, higher time frame, 4 hour daily, then wait for entry. So we're not in a rush and a haste to take trades on BTC. Now, let's take a look at that trade. So the trade was taken somewhere around this area. We took that trade during London session. We took that trade somewhere around this area. Let me see if I can even get a screen. I'm trying to get a screenshot now of the trade. Okay, so this was a trade over here. This was when we this trade. Let's see the entry. Let's see the entry. Okay, so this was the entry over here. We had a TP1 around this area. So entry was around 2477 something. So it was around this area. 247. So it was around somewhere around this area. Stop loss was just around this zone. Then our TP was this 90. It was a 1 to 2 risk to reward trade. Somewhere around this area. That was where we had our TP to. So that was the trade we took. If we go down to the 5 minute time frame, I'm just going to break down how we're able to use the ICT system to take this trade. And the reason why these kind of videos are very good, right, is that it helps you understand how we actually use this system, not just taking signal. But if you choose to just take signal, it's fine. But it will still pay you that you are learning as well, all right, on how to use this particular trading system. So what actually happened here, remember I told you guys this was where we took that trade, somewhere around this area. So I'm going to zoom in and show you what guys were expected. Now, before I show you the entry. Now, remember I told you guys that once you come to the charts during Q zone, first thing you want to identify is where could price navigate to, which is your draw on liquidity. Where could price head to? Now, when we got to the Q zone, which was around this area, it was 2 a.m. So the Q zone was between this zone, 2 a.m., to this zone over here, 5 a.m. So this was the area, this 1, 2, 3, 4 candle. 4 hours. This was the 4 hour window that I was expecting to see a setup. Now, what happened here was that when we got to this Q zone, the areas we had our price was supposed to go to, we had one zone over here, which was this 1 hour FEG overhead. That was this place I marked with this liquidity. Then we had this particular level over here, which was also an untapped FEG, which was also a liquidity, right? Which was also a liquidity. Then we also had there's a tiny gap over here. See, every single gap on the chart matters. They serve as magnets in the market. So we also had this right over here. So now, but what was happening here, right? Because you need to, that's why taking signals is not just enough. You need to understand this, and so that you get to take trade with context. Now, what was happening in this whole era was that we saw price during Asian session, right, reaching down to this other block over here. So there was possibility of price, or that price was going to first of all react to this other block. That was the first thing that I saw that made me say, okay, in as much as this market is going down, we are going to get a reaction. And based on the fact that is an ICT entry, we're not trying to hold the trade for like a day for the session. So that simply means that London was going to at least react to this other block. So that was the first thing that switched my bias from targeting this level to now targeting this particular level over here during London. So what I was now looking for, or what I was now interested in, was a buy opportunity. So now go down to the 5 minute time frame. Once we've marked out zones that price can retrace to, now mark out our Q Q zone over there. Now, this is where it's a little bit tricky. Now, if you remember what I told you guys about CISD and Q zone and silver bullet, or your entry, is that first of all, you will need to see price, right, come down, take out a low or an FEG, then give you a CISD or give you a change of character to the upside before you now take a trade. But in this particular case now, we already see price taking, this is low from New York session yesterday, right? Then this is the low from Asian session. Now during Asian session, we already seen price taking out this low already, right? And we now have, this is a low, this is a high, this is a low, this is a high, this is a low. We now have this change of character. So we already have a change of character. I'm just showing you guys how I actually took that trade. Right, we already have a change of character before we got into the Q zone. So we didn't need to see another, price coming down, taking out liquidity, then giving us a change of character, because it has already happened few minutes before the Q zone. But what you want to look out for if you see something like this, because this is another version of this kind of entry, this kind of trade. What you want to see when something like this has already occurred is that don't just buy from here. Wait till price get to Q zone. Now, once it gets to Q zone, what you want to do is that you want to monitor the 5 minute time frame. You want to monitor the 5 minute time frame. I don't know why this stuff keep popping up. You want to see price go down, then go up, and start closing above this particular high over here. Remember, we already have the main change of character here. So this is going to be more like a continuation. Now, that hadn't been that when we got to this Q zone, right, let's say price did something like this, all right, this something like this, failed to go up, then maybe come to this zone, and then created a change of character to the downside, we would have waited. Remember, now we are in Q zone, right? We would have waited to see price do something like this, all right, before we take that trade. But we did not see price take out any of this low. But instead, what did price do? Instead, price came down, unable to take out this low, even tapped into a 5 minute FEG, then did this, rejected a bit, then came down and did what created a break of structure. A break of structure. Meaning this whole movement over this whole structure over this entry, this early entry during Asian session wants to continue throughout London. So that was how we got into that trade. Somewhere around this area. And our stop loss, if you can remember, was just below this particular low over here. Now we targeted, I think, 1 to 2. It was 1 to 2. It was one something 1 to 2 thereabouts. I know this was the zone where I said you guys should get out of the trade. There was a time I told you guys to reduce your TP. Let me look for that screenshots. As you can see, TP is 492. Well, that was the initial TP. And there was a time I told you guys to can't I can't. I don't think if I sent that screenshot. By the time I told you guys to, after we've taken TP1, then so after this, I think I sent somebody. It's not showing on my PC here, but I sent a screenshot telling you guys to reduce TP2 to 24900. So that was this 24. So that was when we brought TP from this level. Remember, was we're targeting this particular liquidity over here. Though that was, but since market the Q zone was getting over and market was kind of rejecting, I told you guys to bring down your TP2 to this area over here. This was where we exited from that particular trade, but we still caught a 1 to 2 risk to reward trade. So this is basically how we caught that morning trade. So the reason I share this video is so that you guys also understand how to take trades using the system. Now let's head over to USDJPY where we took a loss. Now, I told you guys during New York session that was this area we also saw a setup that played out massively. But I didn't share this because I stick to a rule where I share only 2 trades max with you guys. But I will still tell you guys that if you want to trade, if you still want to take, this was when I was giving you the markup for the USDJPY. Then you can see somewhere around this area. I don't know. Some of the okay. This was it. This was it. If you are still buying UG this session, look out for entries here. I'm done for the day. So this was when I marked this zone for you guys. Let's head over to the 1 hour time frame. So this was the zone I marked for you guys. After we lost that London trade, I told you that you should look for an entry around this area, then take it all the way up. So and that was exactly what happened. Now I'm going to break down the one we lost and also break down um the trade that I believe some of you guys took using that POI that we mapped. Now, first of all, when we got to our Q zone over here, we got to the Q zone. What was price doing here? Now, one of us, all right, one of our members said that is like USDJPY is selling. Now, what I said was that no, it is not actually selling. That could be a liquidity sweep trying to trap early sellers of USDJPY during London trade, and that was exactly what happened. Now, how did I know that this is a trap? Now, one thing you should understand about currency pair, mainly currency pair, though, is that when they are retracing and they're actually carrying a liquidity sweep, not full reversal, you tend to see no FEG in the series of those retracement. Like if you watch now in this whole retracement over here, there's no FEG, there's no gap. So meaning it is just institution waiting for retailers to sell. These are retailers' orders to sell so that they can push the market upwards. That is one significant feature of a liquidity grab or liquidity sweep, or the market trying to trap traders in a certain direction. So when price got down to the Q zone, let me mark that Q zone once again. Um, so where we have our drawn liquidity, so we had this 2 FEG over here, then we also have this Asian low from this session. So the idea there was to wait for price to come down, take out this liquidity, then look for a buy. So during London session, right? Um, Price came down. Now, this is why I always say that if you are able to get entry between 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. New York time, it is most likely that it's going to play out than getting a setup during 4 a.m. because this particular setup, well, we got this entry like 5 minutes before the Q zone expired. So, but I just had to still share their trade and also take it myself because it's still aligned with everything. We met all the criteria of this particular strategy, but the only thing that the setup did not come early enough, like it should. Now, this is where we took that entry after price came down. After price came down, took out this Asian low, took out this FEG, also took out this. It just tapped into this one. Then all we're waiting for is to see price close above this level, then we'll take an entry. Now, if you watch, remember I told you this is up to 5 a.m., right? The Q zone. Now, if you watch, you will see that we took that trade, I think 5 minutes before the Q zone expire, which On a normal day, I wouldn't have taken because I love my entries to be in the early, maybe the first or the second hour of the Q zone. So as you can see, this close happened. See, you see it over here, 10 minutes before Q zone expired. So we took that trade, and price later came down, took us out of that trade. Now during London Q zone, New York Q zone, all right, we started around this area. Started around this area because remember, this was still our points of interest. This is the demand zone holding the structure. So you can see that when price came down, still took out lows from London, tapped into this FEG once again, then went up and closed to the last bearish block, right? And closed above it. So this candle over here was the go ahead. This was actually this one over here. So, but sometimes when the bearish block is a little bit small, you want to see it close above like this one over here. So, I would say this would have been an entry I would have shared. Though I did took this trade to be honest, but I didn't share because I've meant the two trades per day that I share with you guys. So you see that just after that closure, we saw that pump. So even if you did a 1 2 3, still hit your TP over here. But most times I recommend 1 to 2 so that you keep it simple, keep it real. So yeah, guys, that's the breakdown of some of the trades. And like I always say, the reason I share these videos with you guys in the group is so that you get to also understand how we take these trades. Now, as for BTC for now is actually doing nothing. We are just going to and fro. Right now, we are not really doing anything with BTC because this whole price action here is not just it. Right, you want to take trades and hold it for like 6 7 days before you arrive at TP1. This is not what we're going to be doing when we have a trading system that we can get in and out of a trade in a session. So once we see BTC trending once again, we did make a lot of money in this whole move over, but for like a month now, it's been just to and fro. And yeah, we are still waiting for BTC to give us a clear direction of where the market is heading to. So, guys, have any question concerning this video or this tutorial? Let me know in the group. All right, see you guys in the next trade. Take care.